Hello guys, and a massive welcome to the free live training on how to safely create wealth in cryptocurrencies without the need of day trading, taking all these unnecessary risks that people are in the market right now, and also wasting time. The amount of time that I see people wasting through going around in circles, not knowing what they're looking at, and all these other reasons which I'll mention a bit later on in the training. These things are easily avoidable when you understand how, and that's what I share with you on this training today. So what I want to say is I typically have run a lot of in-person events in the past. And given that they've been in person, it's a lot more engaging. Now, just because you're sitting behind a screen somewhere across the world or wherever you are, I just want to ensure that you get the most out of this. And the way that you can do that is by being an active learner. So as you can see on the side, we've got, and thanks for checking in and saying hi guys, we have a chat messenger. So we've got part of our team, we've got Sam, who's our head analyst, and Chanel in there as well. So be an active learner, engage with those guys. Maybe you can ask some questions as you go through or share your takeaways, whatever it is. But the more active you are, the more that you're going to get out of this. So please do act as much as you can. What I want to be very clear on, guys, is I'm sure you've been to events in the past where they've got you really excited and then they try and sell you something at the end. I want to be very, very clear. There is nothing to buy on this training. We absolutely do have something that we offer and we can share that with you, but there's an application process that we go through because we only want to align and let the right people into the business because we only work with a select few people over here. So there's a messenger thing that you can see on the side. If you click into that, then it will open up and you can chat with our team at any point. And they will just ask some high-level questions of really where you're at on your journey and where you want to go to see if we can help you or not. And that's okay, but I assure you, on this training, there's nothing to buy, so relax and just absorb the information and make sure you take action on it because that's how you get results. So what I'm seeing, hearing, feeling in the market, I've been in this market 7 years now in the cryptocurrency world, and I see the same thing happening, and it's very similar to the dot-com boom as well, where there's so much confusion. There's people going around and not knowing who to trust in the market, and maybe some of you even watching this have had a bad experience, unfortunately, and maybe they've been scammed or something has happened, I don't know, but I know exactly what you're going through because I've been through this myself, and I know how it feels, unfortunately, and I speak to people every single day on the phone who have sometimes gone through these unfortunate experiences of being scammed and everything like that. So I want you to kind of start to shift the way that you think and realize the most important thing that you can do is get educated in yourself, because the more education and insight you have, the better position you are going to be in to make those informed decisions and get the outcome of what you want. That's where it all stems from, and that's why CCI exists. So what I will say is my kind of background and how I got into this, I was working, like most people probably watching this recording right now. So with this, I was working in a high-paying finance role in the city, and I was working and doing extremely well. I was flown, as you might be able to see if the guys can drop on some images here, I was flown over to Las Vegas because I achieved certain things, and I was one of the highest performers in a global company which was listed on the New York Stock Exchange, 7 billion US revenue with 250,000 people, and I was recognized as a top performer, which I thought at the time that was incredible and I was doing so well. But what I didn't realize is I was working so many hours to try and uphold this certain outcome, and it wasn't getting me to where I wanted to go. Yes, I was doing somewhat well financially, but I was still restricted on how many holidays I could take or a ceiling to my capital that I could receive through this method of working and working for money instead of getting my money to work for me, which I'm sure a lot of you really understand that listening into this live training. So from there, I was investing heavily into stocks and shares at the time, and again, I was doing well with that because I started investing at 12 years old. Not that I knew what I was doing then, but I developed into having a really good insight how to invest effectively in the world of stocks. And it was the London Stock Exchange to start with, and then the ASX after, when I moved over to Australia about 7 years ago now. So what I realised is the stock market was great, but it was maybe 10 to 12% if it was going well in a year, which those kind of returns aren't getting you fast anywhere quickly, or they're not getting you to your goals, I should say, anywhere quickly. So that's when I started to really shift and think, right, what do I need to do to accelerate my wealth in the shortest time frame possible? And that's when I started to look for alternative opportunities. And in 2014, I fortunately came across Bitcoin, and that led me to, because my background was finance, I saw the opportunity very quickly and realized that this was something of the future, and that I really wanted to get involved with it and have more clarity and understanding. So jumped in 2014, and I saw that it was revolutionary. And for the first 2 years, I made every single mistake that you could possibly make, which I'll mention a little bit later. And unfortunately, or not unfortunately, because I got over it, but through going through all of these challenges and not figuring things out and not knowing what to do, it was so frustrating for me. And it got to the point of where I nearly said, you know what, this is too much. I'm going to stop and I'm going to try something different. So fortunately, I persisted, and I went on to create a unique and proven 5-pillar investment system, which our clients have been using now for 4.5 years, and we've been using for the same amount of time, a bit longer, to great success. And that's what's really, really exciting. And no doubt some of you have probably jumped online and seen all of our client success stories, which I'll share high level with you in a minute. So that's removing all the complex strategies. It's not day trading. It's having a simplified, structured approach, which is always focused around safety, because that's the core thing. You can really expose yourself in this market, which so many people are doing. And if you stay tuned in here in a few minutes, I'll share with you in depth exactly how the 5-pillar investment system works and what that really looks like. So it's been a pretty wild ride for me, as you can imagine, and maybe the guys can chuck up a video here over the last 7 years in the space, and 4.5 years running CCI. So I've been on everything from Channel 9, Channel 10, Dollars with Sense TV, all the way through. I've run so many events across Australia, New Zealand, the UK. I even was flown in to speak at Barclays Bank in London, which was really cool, on a panel around cryptocurrency and its future, as well as podcasts. And so many things have happened over the last 4.5 years in this space, which is just incredible, and I'm super grateful for that. But what I'm more grateful for is all of the clients that we've been able to help over that time frame. And as you can see on this recording, we've got so many 5-star reviews and ratings, because we are very serious about one thing here, and that's helping clients to get results. Nothing else matters. It's our core focus, and as you can see, it's something that we're really good at. And people say all kinds of incredible things. The best investment they've ever made has changed their life, and all these cool things. So it's really, really exciting. But even more so on a financial perspective, I know how this has also changed people's lives, like Adrian. So Adrian came to us, and within 3 months, and I know some of you are probably thinking this is unrealistic, but it shows you the potential. And I'm not saying every client's doing this, but he made $1 million in less than 3 months. Where it got really cool is then 10 days later, he messaged me saying, I've just hit the $2 million mark. And he sent me so many messages, as you can see, saying how he's going towards 10 million and all of these incredible returns that he gets, because he follows our 5-pillar investment system and he implemented it and he took action on it. And it's not just Adrian, it's Varun who 10x'd his investments. We've got Caleb who made 1,700% in one single trade. Roberta, or Roma as she goes by on Facebook, made 49k in less than 3 months, which is a great effort. And we had Russell who hit 62k, his goal was 50, and he overhit that by 12k in a few months period as well. Stephen, 102% in a single trade. Petra, 80% ROI in a week. The list goes on, and I'm super grateful that I've been in that position of not only experiencing those kind of results myself, but now being able to share that with hundreds of clients from all over the world over the last 4.5 years. And that's a really big driver for me. But what I want to understand, if you can maybe chuck in a message to the side, is why are you guys here and what do you really want out of this? So that's a core thing, to start setting an intention for yourself of your direction and where you want to go. And the more that you focus towards that, the more that you'll be shown the path of why you're doing this and what outcome you're really traveling towards. And you should know your outcome before even starting. If you don't know your outcome, then you can start to go off track and you lose focus. For me, and it's probably the same as a lot of you here, I was about to have a family, or I wanted a family, and I was working 15-hour days sometimes, and sometimes 6 days a week. So I just didn't get the opportunity, and I know I wouldn't have had the opportunity to see my child grow up. Fortunately, I get to spend as much time with James as I want now, and you can see his beautiful smiling little face, how much he means to me, and I'm super, super grateful for that. Why I'm so grateful for that is my dad, and when I grew up, I'm English, as you can probably tell by my accent, he was working 3 jobs to get ends to meet when we were growing up in London. And I remember at 10 years old, I turned around to my dad and I said, I never get to see you, because he was just working all the time. And I'm sure some of you know exactly the situation that I went through and my dad went through as well when I was younger. And unfortunately, he carried on doing what he was doing because he wanted to buy our first house. And when I was 12 years old, and my dad was 40 years old at the time, an ex-paratrooper and professional boxer, he had a stroke. And I had to watch my dad learn how to walk again. And the truth is, for a lot of people probably watching this, you don't realize how much stress and strain you're putting on your mental state and your body by working so hard for money instead of figuring out how to get it to work for you. And that's exactly what I started doing at 12 years old. I thought, I don't want to be like my dad. I love him and I'm so grateful to have him as my dad, but I just didn't want to be like him. I wanted to figure out a different way, and that for me was getting my money to work for me, which is why I started investing in the London Stock Exchange at 12. And I'm not saying that I did well to begin with, but fortunately I went through the GFC when I was at university and I was studying finance, economics and investing. And I happened to make a substantial amount of money at a very young age. So you want to be clear on what your driver is, what your reason is, and why you're here on this session, and what you're trying to get out of this for not only yourself, but your future as well. This is a big driver for me. This is my why. As to people say, why do you do this, Joe? You've clearly made enough money if you've been in it for this many years. Why do you still want to help others? And it's fulfillment. I get so much fulfillment, and you can see, go and have a look at our online reviews. I get so much fulfillment out of helping people like yourselves and like I used to be, and certainly my dad, because I don't want other people to go and have to suffer and go through this challenge of wanting to move into cryptocurrency but not really knowing how, and also just not putting yourself in a position of having that time freedom to do what you want, when you want, and with who you want, and financial strain and stress that you can alleviate through that process as well, which is no doubt why a lot of you are here. So be clear on your story, be clear on your why and what you want to get out of this, because it will certainly help you move through that. And thanks for all of the comments on the side. I can see that it's great that people have got a clear intention and why you're doing this. So thanks for dropping in, guys, and sharing that with us, because it's really, really important, and it's great for me to see and hear as well. So thank you for sharing that. Now, regardless of kind of where you're at, whether you're just about to start, or maybe you've been investing for a while now, I really find that people take one of three paths or kind of bounce around in between them. It's either one, they figure it out on their own, so they figure out how to create wealth safely in the world of cryptocurrencies on their own. Now, probably 90% of the people that I speak to that think they fit here don't. So they haven't been getting consistent success for years, and they've maybe been going on this roller coaster, and they're convincing themselves that the next YouTube video is going to give them the golden ticket to the latest and greatest cryptocurrency, or the market's just going to keep going up and they're going to keep holding. There's just no strategy and structure to what they're doing. The second type is people just go and buy a course, and there's no support and there's no guidance and there's no coaching around it, and they hope that they can just watch a course and get the result, an outcome that they want, and we kind of all know how that ends. The third one is that they hire a coach. Not only an expert who's already achieved what they want and helped hundreds of other people achieve success too, but a coach that also has a successful team behind them who's been in the market for years and can also provide that insight and guidance. Now, this is really the sweet spot for investors. People that are actually willing to do the work to get the result and outcome that they want, and they realize the importance of time. Time is our greatest asset, not money. Money is easily created. Time cannot be recreated. And that's what people want. They want to shrink down the amount of time that they have to invest into something to get the return that they want. The truth is, unless you've got the skill, you'll go around for years and years and years doing the same stuff, expecting a different outcome. And I know this because I speak to people all of the time that have been in the market 3, 4, 5 years and they still haven't got returns. And I'm just like, how have you not got returns? And it's because they don't have a proven system in place, but they haven't had that support and guidance. And that's the core thing. You need both. You can't have just a system, just the support. You need both to come together to get the result and outcome that you want in the shortest time frame possible, but more importantly in the safest way. Because you can overexpose yourself and not know what you're doing, but that's not going to get you to where you want to go. So just think about all of the sports athletes in the world, or maybe famous investors. All of them have a coach. Show me one that does not have a coach behind them that's given them the support, the guidance, the insight, sharing a different perspective. And that's what will help you to alleviate a lot of the challenges, but really accelerate things to the next level. And I know it's very difficult to know who to trust in this market. The cryptocurrency market is pretty ridiculous, and I know there's so many challenges with it. So what we want to understand is two core things, because I invest a lot of money into mentors, and I have done for many, many years now, because I've realized the value of a mentor when you align to the right one. So two things I look for. Firstly, have they actually been successful themselves? And secondly, have they not only been successful themselves, but more importantly, have they been able to recreate the system that they use, implement it with hundreds of other people, and get results too? That is the core thing that I look for. So when I do my research, not only do I want to know that they're successful and all of the content, knowledge and insight they're sharing makes a lot of sense, but I also want to see that other people are getting results with our tools and systems as well. So that's why we're very open at sharing our client success stories, all of our Trustpilot reviews. You can research into the company, CCI Crypto Consulting Institute, and see for yourself, because it's very important to know who you're investing into, because there's so many people that are misleading people or informing people that they don't really understand what they're doing. And that really ties in well to the next thing that I want to share with you. So that's the 10 common mistakes that I have made, some of them, but I see so many people in the world of cryptocurrency still making today. And this is what we want to avoid. It's more so how many mistakes can you avoid to get you to where you want to go, and then just focus on the pure part of what you're doing. So number one, and this is such a big one that I'm seeing, and I hear it all the time with people that come on board and work with us. They tell me this is what they've been doing and they haven't been getting results, and it doesn't surprise me why. And that's listening to overnight experts on YouTube and taking that financial decision based on what they've been told through YouTube. Now, the person on YouTube doesn't know your risk, has probably been paid to promote a cryptocurrency in the background, and that's why we don't align to any cryptos. We stay very objective, and we don't align to anyone for that specific reason. We just prefer to educate people. So the way that I want you to kind of think of this is, would you go down to the sea, let's say, and scoop up some water and drink it? Probably not, unless you're a little bit crazy. You might drink some salt water. Some people are saying, yeah, but I don't know about that personally. So you don't want to drink salt water because it doesn't taste good. That's like getting information off of YouTube and then basing your financial decision on that. So what you really want to do is tip that into a filter and be able to filter out and purify so that when you drink it at the end, it tastes good. So the filter is your knowledge, your education, your insight, the 5-pillar investment system, so that when you come to make your decision, you've got your own decision to be made based on where you are at, what's right for you, rather than basing your financial decision on someone else. And that's where so many people are going wrong. And that's a massive thing that I would invite all of you to avoid. The next thing, unfortunately, number 2, is people getting scammed. I hear about this all the time. My definition of cryptocurrency is really everything people don't understand about money and technology combined. So it's the same as the inception of the internet, all these internet companies coming on and people unfortunately investing into companies that are going nowhere or scams. It's the same kind of concept, but it's just now within cryptocurrency. So I see all of these pyramid schemes that are coming out and saying, get people under you, and all of these great things that unfortunately 99.9% of them are scams. You get ads popping up on Facebook telling you to invest in this auto trader and it's got algorithms and it'll trade for you. Do not do it. If anything says, I guarantee that you're going to get this return, or just invest $250 to get started, be very mindful that it's more than likely a scam. The best thing that you can do is learn how to manage your own money and get educated for yourself. You are the best person to manage your money, no one else. So get educated and up-level your knowledge so you can manage your money better. That's it, simple. Number 3 is I find, I've heard of the term crypto garden, which is hilarious, but collecting lots of different cryptocurrencies in the hope that one of them go up. That's not a strategy and it won't end well. You can't manage 10, 20, 30, 50 different coins at one time knowing when to buy and sell them. And you definitely haven't done the research in order to actually accumulate that many coins. You would need a full team of researchers if you've got any more than 10 coins. And some of you are probably thinking, watching this, I can see some messages coming in saying, I've got a lot more than that. Just be very mindful that you want to eliminate your risk and double down on something that's actually going to provide the life-changing return that you're after, rather than just spread bet and hope that one of them goes up. You want to transition from being a hope investor to a sophisticated investor, and that's what we work on with our clients. And I can see some of you certainly approve of that, which is awesome. So the next thing is I hear the term HODL. Hold on for dear life. What HODL means is a translation for basically I don't have a strategy and I'm hoping that my investment continues to go up, or I invested really high a while back and the price has gone down and I'm just going to hold it until it goes back up. So it's a really bad way of investing and a poor way of thinking. You have to understand that at some point you need to take profit, and you want to know what those levels are, and that's what our head analyst Sam specializes in, teaching people exactly when to enter and when to exit the market, which I can talk more about later, which is in one of the pillars. So that's really important to have the strategies and systems in place so you don't buy at the wrong time and you're not selling at the wrong time and you're not using all this emotion to make these decisions, because it doesn't end well. Number 5 is taking unnecessary risks. I see this all the time, that people are just leaving themselves exposed on an exchange, which I'll talk about later, or not storing in the right way, or not doing test transactions, and all of these things that you can do to really easily avoid all of these risks that people are taking, but at the same time, how to do proper research. Because if you're not researching properly, knowing where to get credible information from, it's an unnecessary risk. Number 6 is getting sucked into the latest and greatest opportunities. There is so many new cryptocurrencies coming out right now, and to be honest, the majority of them will fail. So the same as most new businesses that start up, but more so in cryptocurrency, because there's a lot of scams being paired with that as well, unfortunately. So you want to know exactly what you're looking into and how to analyze it in the best way possible, because so many people are chucking money into things that just have no value, but they've got loads of marketing behind them, which gets people really, really excited. So that's not a good thing to do, and that's something that you really want to avoid. Number 7 here, if I can get 7 right, 7 fingers, is joining Facebook groups full of people that have no idea what they're talking about, and they're sharing their knowledge and insight like they're an overnight expert. Just because you made a bit of money in recent times because the market went up, it doesn't mean that you're an overnight expert, and you shouldn't be advising other people on how to create wealth because you've had a bit of luck in recent times. You just got to be very mindful of who you're listening to get the guidance and the insight. And there's not really that many experts that I certainly listen to in this field, because there's so many people that just don't have as much depth and knowledge and experience as what they need to be guiding people in the right way. And that's why I would only ever listen to someone who's got a track record of actually being successful and helping hundreds of other people doing that too, rather than a massive group of all of these different people that are in there. And I see other mentors out there that boast they've got thousands of people in their group. That's great, but how much guidance and support are you actually providing for people? In order to get the deep shifts and changes that you need to get the results that you want, you have to go through a lot of change and a lot of support and guidance to make that possible. You're not going to get that in a group with a few thousand people. Number 8, I got my fingers right this time, is mismanaging assets. So not knowing how to store and manage your assets in the best way possible, or sometimes people think they know how to store them and they're like, great, I've got this hardware wallet and that's the best way for me to store my crypto, but then they haven't managed their recovery phrase properly, they leave it on paper and all of these other things that I can talk about a bit later in one of the sections. And should anything happen to your device or you, then people haven't really thought that far. So that's something we go into a lot of depth on with our clients, and it's actually the second pillar of what we talk about, which I'll share very shortly. That's very essential here for your success. If you don't have your foundations right, think about building a house. If the foundation of the house isn't set properly, then it's weak when it's being built upon, and it will fall over at some point in time. That's what you want to avoid, and you want the confidence that when you do build on top, when you start to build your wealth, then you know exactly what you're doing and how you're managing it, and that is really essential. So number 9 is getting caught in the latest and greatest day trading trends. There's so many people that are jumping on the hype of day trading, and they make a couple of trades and they think all things are going well. What they don't realize is when they actually work out how much money firstly they've made through day trading and the amount of time they've actually put into it, they would have been better off stacking shelves at Coles, which isn't obviously no disrespect to anyone listening that maybe is doing that. I'm just saying the amount of money that you would get paid is far greater than most day traders in this market, unfortunately. But what people don't realize is the amount of time, knowledge and insight that you have to be a successful day trader. I know someone who had 15 years experience day trading, and he managed millions and millions and millions of dollars for other people in commodities and other markets, transitioned into Bitcoin, and within 4 years he shut his fund down because the market was just it was moving too much and irregular in shorter term time frames and wasn't playing true to the patterns where it does on bigger time frames. So that's why you really want to pick and choose how you're investing. But do you want to be sitting in front of a screen for 8 hours a day looking at charts? Probably not. I'm sure you've all got families or better things that you want to do than do that. So That's something that I want you to be very aware of and not getting caught in that. And number 10, for me, this is one of the biggest mistakes, people saying that it's too hard and dismissing it and sitting on the sidelines and watching the greatest opportunity that they've ever seen in history float past because they didn't spend the time and invested into their education and themselves to get to the level that they need to be to really extract the value out of this. So really think about if you're doing any of these or hitting into any of these mistakes and start to think how you can start thinking differently and ask different questions, because that's going to give you a different result. But the best thing that you can ever do, like I openly say, because I know this from my own experience, is invest into yourself, something you've got full control over, not leverage and expose yourself out in the markets that you don't have necessarily much control over. Only if you really know what you're doing, you gain some control, but all the control is really taken away. So you want to have the framework and the knowledge and the education to really control that in the best way possible. So now we've shared that, what I wanted to do is just pull up and share my screen with you. So I jump on here now and cover off what some of the core things are in terms of what's happening in the market right now. So now I want to cover off with you a bit about what's happening in the global world from more so an economic point of view, a financial point of view. I'm sure you would have seen a lot of this in the news of late, so I don't want to go into too much depth on it, but I certainly think that there's a lot of value in understanding at a high level what's really going on. So in the opposite to cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin in particular, you can't print more of them. You can't just go and create them out of thin air. Where this is where something that we're seeing more and more, printing of money, fake money is what I would call it, and putting that into circulation. So the US is now looking up to 10 trillion. I know RBA has unfortunately in Australia has started to create and print more money as well. And this is really devaluing and putting, if you look at the basic supply and demand law, if you put more supply into circulation and the demand isn't there, then it devalues a currency. So they're constantly devaluing a currency by printing more and more money, which is certainly a bit of a concern. So I know that Turkey has been absolutely smashed, losing a horrific amount of value off of their currency, and all the challenges that have been going on over there is pretty horrible. And where we see cryptocurrencies really playing out well is typically across developing countries where they're having so much challenge with hyperinflation, meaning that too much money is being printed and it's just devalued. I don't know if anyone's been over to that part of the world, but from what I hear, they literally have wheelbarrows of money to go and buy loaves of bread because the swing of the value of the currency fluctuates so significantly. On top of that, there's unfortunately other announcements. So if printing money doesn't work, giving it away is another way of making it work. And then on top of that is reducing interest rates. So now effectively they're going to have to, if it goes into negative rates, which it has in some countries, and I know in other countries like Australia it's heading to zero very, very quickly, it basically means that the bank will have to pay you to keep money in the bank, which is obviously a very strange thing to do. You'll have to pay the bank to keep money in the bank, but lending you money can be free, or actually not free, but you still have to pay back, but the interest on it will be negative, which is a huge change. And understanding what this really means for borrowers and savers, they're trying to re-stimulate the economy. And to me, cutting interest rates to a negative is very detrimental. And anyone that's been around quite a while on the face of the planet would know that interest rates were up around 18% back in the day, so it's really quite scary. So negative interest rates have been extremely positive for cryptocurrency and gold, as what we have seen. And Tyler Winklevoss is one of the biggest names in the world of cryptocurrency, and he's just saying the negative interest rates, what this really means, they will be literally paying you to borrow. It's just so damaging for what's happening on the traditional financial scope. So also what we're looking at here, and this is the Australian Bureau of Statistics, is the performance of what's happened within the housing market. And we can see the housing market has just been plummeting of late, and the performance of this has really been significantly down across all accounts, which is really interesting, as well as stock markets have really taken a plummet. So something very interesting to keep your eye on. Now, transitioning into the world of cryptocurrency, so huge news coming out, like global businesses, PayPal opening up the gateway to 364 million people in order to basically buy and sell cryptocurrency like Bitcoin Cash, I believe Ethereum, Ripple on that platform, which is absolutely massive news. On top of that, we've got listed on US stock listed investment firms. Grayscale is one of these guys. They've bought a colossal amount of Bitcoin. So right now they own about $7.8 billion worth of Bitcoin alone in their trust, which people can invest into through the stock markets in the US. So they bought 250 million in a week. They got 500,000 Bitcoins, which is incredible. And the amount of holdings that they have just keeps skyrocketing up. On top of that, you've got listed companies like MicroStrategy, so run by Michael Saylor. Now, what was really interesting is he only a few years back was saying how Bitcoin isn't going to eventuate to anything, and now he's invested 425 million of the cash reserves of MicroStrategy, the listed company, which is really interesting. You've got other famous people like Jack Dorsey from Square, or also famously known for Twitter as well. So they've purchased 50 million of their cash reserved, which is huge news. Other people, so the CEO of Virgin Galactic has invested he owns 1 million Bitcoin, which is incredible, and you could imagine how much he's worth. So you start to see the names of people that are investing in the space. Sir Richard Branson's a massive name that's been around as well. So there's so many people that are investing that are high profile and running listed companies who are using their cash reserves to invest in the space. But then there's so many large scale funds that are being created and listed on stock exchanges all over the world, so to allow people to invest into what they're doing. And here's another great example of RBA, Reserve Bank, who are partnering with Commonwealth Bank and NAB as well to try and launch their own central bank digital currency. So a lot of things are happening across the world, and China is also, they've also listed their own digital yuan, their currency, to step away from the US dollar. So we're starting to see this more and more. There's something called BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, China, I think it was maybe India and somewhere else, is trying to basically depair from the US dollar and then focus purely on a cryptocurrency related currency, and managing that in a far more effective way using blockchain technology. So you can see that there's so much happening in this space, in not only cryptocurrencies, which has put the price of where it's at, which is nearly at its all-time high, but also on top of there, what's happening in global markets, and seeing that gold is really starting to push up given everything that's happening. So certainly important to be informed as to what's happening and really be across this to help you get have clarity on where you're going to invest your capital that you do have, rather than getting caught in what people are doing right now and hoping that property and stocks are going well. The reality is alternate markets are far outperforming them, and they always have done, based on data and statistics that you can look up for yourself. So let's jump back on in now and focus on the next part of this training. So now we've gone through the in-depth market overview of what's actually happening. I can see there's a lot of people putting comments in on the side that they weren't aware of how developed and advanced cryptocurrencies have really become, but also the extent of the challenge of our financial and political and the landscape of what's happening, everything with coronavirus. All of these things have had such a huge impact upon financial markets, but also alternative investments as well. And it is really good to have the data. I'm so big on, you need data and information to help you make informed decisions, rather than just listen to the mass of mainstream media or maybe some Facebook things or whatever. You really want to go and do the research to get the in-depth insight for yourself. So I just want to remind everyone that if you do want to check in and have a chat with the team, I can see that a lot of people have been jumping on and messaging the team already, but if you do want to check in and understand a bit more about what we do here, then shoot a message through. Just click on the link, the messenger link here on the side, and Chanel or one of the team will be in touch with you, and we'll just ask some questions of where you're at and to see if there's an alignment for us to help you on your journey as well. So a quick question, and feel free to shoot through some messages here on the side. What do you think it really takes to be a successful cryptocurrency investor, or just a successful investor in general? There's one thing that stands above all of the others, and I can see some interesting answers coming in, like strategy and knowing what to invest or when to invest. All of these things, they're great answers, but really the first thing and our first pillar is what I'll share with you in a second, and that's the core thing of where you want to start your focus and then build and develop everything else from there. And I'll explain that in a bit more depth in a second. So now I'll touch on our 5-pillar investment system, which you've all been waiting for, and give you a bit of depth and guidance as to what we do to really master cryptocurrency over here, and how we're unlocking the returns that we are, and so are our clients, like clockwork. And not doing that with all the day trading and the complexities and the overwhelming nature and spending endless hours. It's just cutting through and knowing exactly what to do, where to go, and how to implement to get the results you're looking for. So pillar one, in my opinion, the most important pillar, is what separates every single person. So there's hundreds of you on this recording, and imagine the difference here between each individual person. You have all got different experiences, you've all got different backgrounds, and you all think differently. And that's what will give you all different results here. So investment psychology method is the number one thing above all else that's going to help you to get the results of what you want. And it's something that we're really big on. If you get your mindset right and in a particular state, then when you come to apply the strategies or the learning, or you hit up against some challenges, you're easily able to move through them, which you wouldn't be if you didn't have the right mental state. So what I think, and the way that I think of most things, is the Pareto principle really fits in well. So 80% of success is really the investment psychology, and 20% of this is the strategy. So think of a Formula One driver. So a Formula One driver can get into any car and they can drive it to its full potential. If you sat in a Formula One car but you don't know how to drive, then you're not going to even get off the starting grid. So that's the kind of analogy there that gives you the clarity around how important the mental state and where you are at to get the results that you want. So 3 really quick and easy shifts that I see most people making, or what they are doing and what they could shift to. So the first is emotion versus strategy. So most people in this market are emotional investors. They don't have a strategy, therefore they chase the market up and down. And typically these are the same people that invest high and then end up selling low. Even though common sense would tell you not to do that, that's unfortunately what they do, because they don't have a strategy, so they constantly chase the market. And I can see some of you commenting on the side, nodding and saying yes in the background. This is exactly what you've been doing, and that's okay. It's understanding that you've been doing something wrong and then shifting to a different way, and that's what's going to get you the result and outcome of what you want. And feel free to share, guys. It's okay. Like, it's great that you are sharing, and thank you for that, because no doubt the majority of people probably listening understand what I mean and are sitting there nodding in agreement. So the next thing is awareness versus ignorance. So being aware of market cycles, being aware of what's happening in our external reality, being aware of what's happening within cryptocurrency, rather than being ignorant, expecting the price to continue going up, or expecting that things are just going to be fine, and being like an ostrich, putting your head in the sand and pretending everything's okay. It's really tuning into what's actually happening, what's going on, and that's what's going to help you be steps ahead of where everyone else is at. And the third key shift of what I want to share on this is education versus speculation. Most people are speculating in a speculative market. That is a very risky and unnecessary place to be. So when you get your education, your knowledge, your insight, which congratulations for all of you tuning in, because I can see there's a lot of you on this live session, getting that education, knowledge and insights really what's going to take you to the next level of where you're at. Think of cryptocurrency as a competitive intellectual sport. So the same as a normal sporting match, if your opponent has done more work on themselves, but also training and things, they are going to get a better result. And that's why you have elite performers, and that's why you have people that aren't generally as good, is because you really need to focus on what's important, and that's yourself and developing yourself. So when you're competing against someone else that's maybe newer to the market or doesn't have as much experience, it's going to be very easy to trade against them. What you have to realize is every time you're buying from someone else that's selling, and when you're selling to someone else that's buying. That's a normal market. So if you're at the peak of your game and the way that you think and operate, then you're going to put yourself in the best position. What I see is 80 to 85% of the market are walking out onto a tennis court, picking up a tennis racket for the first time in their lives, and unfortunately standing at the other end of the court is someone like Rafa Nadal, who has been playing tennis for years, and they're just going to smash them every single time. And even if the person walking onto the court for the first time does get a point, overall they're going to lose. And that's because Nadal's had the training, he's got a coach who's given him that support and guidance and watches everything that he does and analyzes it and helps him to up level. And that's what we're really big on over here, to help people move to the next level. So is this making sense to you? So I can see a few people have been saying yes, and this is great. It's really essential to get this part right. If you understand the importance of investor psychology and mindset, then you will allow yourself to up level. If you don't, then you're going to keep yourself exactly where you are. And that's the challenge, because you're competing against other people that are developing and are improving and are investing heavily into themselves and the way that they think, to get to that next level, and obviously that education too. So something that I would think about, and thanks guys for sharing as well. It's great to see so many of you are engaged. So pillar number 2 is the is not the investment psychology method, it's the investment safety protocol. So with this, it's essential, like I mentioned earlier, to have your safety set up and know exactly what you're doing. So a quick question for everyone that's tuning into the live session. Just shoot an answer through, yes or no, on the side. Who thinks cryptocurrencies are stored in a wallet? Whether that's a software wallet, hardware wallet, a paper wallet, let's say an exchange as well. Who thinks cryptocurrencies are stored in a wallet? And who thinks that cryptocurrencies are not stored in a wallet? Right, so I can see this is a concern, but it's very normal from what people are answering here. So for anyone that's not sure, cryptocurrencies are definitely not stored in a wallet. So what's stored in a wallet is your access to your part of the blockchain. So think of your front door key to get inside your house, or your front door key to the blockchain where your cryptocurrency is stored. Your cryptocurrency is stored on the blockchain. It never leaves the blockchain. All that happens is people lose and mismanage that access to that part of the blockchain where their cryptocurrency is stored. Data suggests that 17 to 23% of Bitcoin has been either lost or mismanaged, which is roughly about 60 billion in today's value US that's been lost. And I can see people's reaction to that. It's crazy and it's completely unnecessary, and that's why we're so big on the safety. So there's a number of different ways that you can store your cryptocurrency, from exchanges, which are not a good idea because the exchange owns your private key. So should anything happen to them, then you will lose access to your cryptocurrency. And most people don't realize this or know this, so they leave themselves exposed. The second way is software wallets. And if the guys, if one of you can chuck up a recording of this, and here's me using a software wallet. So what you have to be really careful of here is with a software wallet, it's connected to the internet, and that means that you're susceptible to being hacked as well. So it's certainly safer than leaving it on an exchange, which is obviously connected to the internet and has a lot more risks. But just be mindful that I wouldn't be storing my entire portfolio on a software wallet. I might be using it to buy coffee like I was in the video there. The third way is paper storage. What I would say about paper storage is maybe good for gift cards and sending someone $5 worth of Bitcoin or something as a bit of fun. But paper burns, paper turns to paper mache. People can find your bit of paper. You don't want to make multiple copies because it's got all of your private details and information. It's basically like leaving your front door key or the PIN code to your safe on the side. It's not a good thing to do. So I would really invite anyone that's new not to use a paper storage. And the fourth way is a hardware wallet. So this is something that we personally purchase and provide for all of our clients that come on board. And not only do we show them how to set up the front end, but we also show them how to set up the back end. And the back end is far more important because most people don't get this right. And should anything happen to you or the device, then people just don't have things set up in the right way. Or if you're on the other side of the world, how are you going to gain access if you don't have your wallet with you? And let's say Bitcoin goes to 100, 200 grand, you want to gain access to that. So that's something that we cover in depth with our clients. Now, I know that I went through that fairly fast, and it's something that we go into a lot of depth with our clients, and we actually help everyone get set up effectively. And you can see through our reviews, we're really big on emphasizing safety, because it is your foundation pillar of what you're going to build and grow from. So after going through that, who's a bit more confident with understanding how to safely store and create and manage their wealth in the best way? So I can see a few of you are saying, yes, that's awesome, really good to hear. I can see a few of you are still confused, and it is a deeper topic, which is great. So that's something that we do go through in a lot more depth, but I was just covering it for you to see. So it's really good that I can see a lot of you are getting takeaways. So thank you guys all for tuning in and sharing that you're getting awesome takeaways from this. So pillar 3 is the transacting process. Now, there's a number of different ways that you can buy and sell cryptocurrencies, and it's getting more advanced and sophisticated with lower fees and more control and ownership. I'll quickly show you a few different ways. So the first and most common is a cryptocurrency exchange. So this is how most people are storing and managing their cryptocurrencies, as well as buying and selling their cryptocurrencies right now. There's pros and cons to this. The benefit is that it can be fairly quick and easy. The cons are that there's certainly risks to it, and you have to upload all your identity and information on there, which that to some people isn't a good thing. Some people don't mind that and they're happy to do that in order to use the service. So it's really dependent upon each individual, and there's many exchanges out there. So you want to be looking at who's established, how long have they been around, what services do they offer. Depending on your skill level, you want to know what the products are that they actually have. Is it advanced trading? Is it more basic? And we're partnered with a number of exchanges here in Australia, but also New Zealand and across the globe as well, so we can ensure that our clients are using the right exchanges that are right for them, because there are so many different levels to that. Number two is cryptocurrency brokerage firms. So we're partnered with a couple of different brokerage firms, and they provide different fees. They're typically a little bit more expensive, but they can manage part of the process for you, and that you are typically dealing with someone potentially on a phone call there, but you do pay a premium for that service. So do be aware of that, but that's a way that you can do it. Number three is peer-to-peer. So localbitcoins.com is something that I used 7 years ago when I first got into it. There's a little bit more complexities. It's a little bit slower now. You still have to do KYC, which you didn't have to do before, which is why it was a bit more interesting for people. But now that they've developed. So there's three typical ways that people are buying and selling. We do show our clients a lot more, but I just don't have time to get through all of them, because there are other ways that you can buy and sell that are more cost effective and more decentralized, and you can control more of your data and information rather than sharing your driver's license and everything that you have to do. Take photos of yourself on the exchanges and stuff as well. So who's a bit more confident with understanding that there's a number of different ways that you can buy and sell and what they look like. And if you've got any questions, just check on in. The team will give you that support and guidance, and feel free to hit the messenger button as well to chat more in depth with our team, and they will give you support and guidance as well. So I can see that it's been really helpful for a number of you, which is great. And again, thank you for the feedback, because it's good to know that I'm not just standing here staring through a camera lens, but people are actually engaged, and I can see a lot of you are really getting a lot of takeaways from this, which is really awesome to hear. So number four is the 4 proven investment strategies. So this is the fourth pillar of what we cover off in depth with our clients. So what I will say is, if you want to learn more about the 4 proven investment strategies that we have, because I won't be covering all of them today because I want to keep the session nice and short and concise, but I'll give a very broad overview of that. If you want to learn more about our 4 proven investment strategies that have been creating a lot of wealth for our clients, as I'm sure you can see through our client success stories, check on them just by hitting the messenger button on the right and have a chat with the team, and they can talk more in depth about where you're at and also helping you on your journey as well. So let's jump on into it and cover off this. This is one of my favorite things. So if you haven't seen this before, this is the Wall Street cheat sheet. So every market goes through cycles, believe it or not. Every single market. It's nature, it's the universal law that things go through cycles, seasons go through cycles, markets go through cycles, everything does. So what we want to understand is where we are in a particular cycle. Now, if we think back to 2017, and I said optimism is where people were in around that September time, and then belief in October, through in November, euphoria in December, and then we started to move through complacency in January of 2018, and then anxiety in February 2018. Most people, because they didn't understand cycles, they rode the wave up and down. So if people bought earlier in, let's say, 2015, 16, 17, they would have ridden the wave all the way up and then came crashing back down because they didn't have a strategy in place. They don't understand market cycles. And we go into a lot of depth on how to understand trajectory of where a market might go and what that looks like, as well as building out investment strategies to know when to capitalize. but more importantly, using data and information, which Sam, who's our superstar head analyst, he goes into a lot of depth on when to buy and sell, so you move in and out of the market. Now, we've seen earlier this year, Bitcoin was down at around the 4K US, and we can see how quickly that can move up to higher levels. So we want to be really advanced on the way that we think and the way that we operate, and that really comes through understanding market cycles, but also having strategies in place. So as you can see, we're going through a cycle right now, but what I really want to demonstrate through this is it's not the first cycle that we've been through. So this image, thank you guys for chucking that up. So you can see back in 2014, on the main image, there was a tiny little blip, which you couldn't even see. But if you zoom in, you can start to see that this is a market cycle. And it was huge back in 2014. And now you can start to see how it almost mirrors the cycle that we went through in 2017, 2018, the cycle that we went through in 2019. And now we're at in 2020, 2021, where we are at and what we're moving through right now is absolutely essential to understand cycles and how to position yourself, but build out investment strategies around them to capitalize. And that is the core thing. If you don't have a strategy, you're not going to get results, and you'll be a hope investor chasing the market like so many people, unfortunately, that I speak to all the time, that have been a reactionary, emotional investor chasing the market, not knowing what data and information to use to help them, like market sentiment, technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and really overlaying that. And that's what we go into a lot of depth with our clients around. As you can see here, it's not just cycles, like I said, that happen within the cryptocurrency world. If you look at the dot-com boom and bust, effectively, that it went through in 2000, the market got up to $3.7 trillion. In today's value, that's about 5 trillion. Bitcoin hasn't even hit it, or the cryptocurrency market hasn't even hit $1 trillion, and it is close to, but it hasn't even hit $1 trillion, where in today's value, the dot-com boom got up to 5 trillion. So you can see that this is really a drop in the ocean, but you can also see how different markets go through different cycles. Now, the interesting thing, one thing to be aware of, is the 7 top internet companies are now worth $5 trillion, which is more than the entire value of the market back in 2000. So we really want to focus on here tuning into what we're investing into, because a number of them will be life-changing opportunities, and they already have for a number of us. So it's positioning yourself so you can get the most out of this, and that's really essential. So jump on in if you do want to learn more about our strategies. Just hit the messenger button on the side and contact our team, because this is something we're extremely good at. The focus of our business isn't to overload and overwhelm people with information. It's about helping people to create money in the quickest way possible. That is our focus. So that's what you really want to tune into and get the most out of here. How can I get the quickest outcome, or how can I get to the result that I'm looking for in the shortest time frame possible? So pillar number 5 is the opportunity and assessment blueprint. So this is really your fundamental analysis. So knowing what you're investing into and why, and having a structured, in-depth process of consistent analysis. What most people do is they'll look at one opportunity and analyze it in a few different ways, or maybe just watch YouTube, even worse. But some people will go through and analyze it in a few different ways, and then they go and assess another one and they do things differently, and they wonder why they keep getting inconsistent results. It's because they're missing some vital information in the process, but they're also looking at all these things in different ways, and that's going to lead to different outcomes every time. So we really want to fine tune that, and we've developed an entire blueprint that we share in depth with all of our clients, which goes through step by step, and you literally fill in the blanks so you can analyze opportunities for yourself. Like I was saying earlier, something that I'm really big on is educating people to make informed decisions for themselves, because what's right for me and what's right for all the hundreds of people on this live session, everyone's going to be of a different risk level, a different experience level, a different background level, and that will mean that you're going to invest differently, and you need to know that when you're assessing it, you're coming at it from what's right for you, not what's right for someone on YouTube, or just having a guess and a gamble effectively. And that's not ideal. So what I'm sharing with you on the screen right now is basically a breakdown and an overview of where the money is flowing into. So you want to really have clarity on where you're investing your funds into, and knowing what is really essential and important part of your process for you. Otherwise, you can start investing into industries that are going nowhere or don't have the value and the potential to really go somewhere. I find a lot of people are wasting time in industries that are just not going to provide the level of return that they want. So that's what we're really good at, pinpointing exactly where your money should be flowing and where the highest return on investment potential is. So something that I want to share with you really quickly is a 3-step rating that I share with my clients, but I wanted to give you some insight, and this is real high level, but it's one of the tools that we use when going through the process. So the first thing is hype. You want to know that there is a lot of marketing done behind a project, and it's very important. If people don't know about the project, then no one's going to be investing into it. On the flip side of that, you can have great products, you can have great marketing, but the cryptocurrency itself has no value. And that's what, unfortunately, I see a lot of in the market right now. There's a lot of hype behind these schemes and cryptocurrencies that actually have no value whatsoever. There's just a huge amount of marketing that's gone into it, and that's really what you want to be tuned into. Is it good marketing that's going to help the value of the coin increase, and there's actually some fundamental value to it, or is it just great marketing in singularity? That's not a good investment. So the next thing is risk. There's a lot of regulatory risk, and there's a number of other restrictions and challenges that you want to be aware of, so you don't go heavily invested into something that maybe could come up against challenges. And I've seen this with a number of coins in the past where they've been created around an area and they haven't really thought about the restrictions or the challenges that they might face. And that's something that you want to be proactive with, and that's something that we go into a lot of depth with on our blueprint. And the third thing is really predicting your return on investment. So when you understand what your return on investment potential is, and when you start to look at your opportunity cost, meaning that you could invest into other things that could potentially provide a far greater return, if you're not structured and set up in the right way, you can end up investing in things that go backwards. And I can see a number of you are thinking that's very true. And really thank you for sharing and being open and honest, because I hear this all the time, that people are investing into these obscure coins that are going nowhere, and they wonder why, when they look at other parts of the market, they wonder why they're exploding and they're not getting the returns that they want. It's just where you're at, and that's something that you really need to shift. And the only way you can shift that is by getting the knowledge and insight to actually analyze a process properly. So that's what we go into a lot of depth with, and here I'll share 3 very high level steps of things that you would want to look at as you go through the process. So the team is really essential, so knowing who's behind the project, have they got experience, what's their background, have they got past tracks of results. That's a very key component when you're analysing the opportunity. The other things are community. So you would want to know that there's an established community, typically, unless it's a really new coin, but you would want to know that there's a community behind the cryptocurrency itself, because that means that there will be investors, there'll be people buying and selling the cryptocurrency, which is going to drive the price up. But also at the same time, if there isn't a community, then I would be very careful and I would maybe do some more research. Or it's a great opportunity to do research into the community, and you'll know if something's a scam really quickly or not, because it'll be mentioned within the community. So don't ignore that because you're blinded by the lights and you think this is the next opportunity that's going to create that financial freedom and life freedom for you. Don't get blinded by that. Really listen to what's being said. And I see this, and I won't bring up the name because I don't want to offend anyone maybe tuning in right now, but I see this a lot where there's unfortunately a lot of people investing into something that's got a lot of bad reviews online saying it's a scam, but they've got their blinkers on and they think that they are going to get results. Just be mindful of that, guys, because it's what's going to help you avoid that and actually invest into things that will give you the return on investment that you're looking for. The other thing is user case. So where is it a real world user case, as in can you actually use the project or the cryptocurrency itself? Is it being used? Does it have value? If it does have value, what is the value of that? If you don't understand what the value is, then that's maybe not the best investment opportunity. So after going through this, I do want to be very clear that there's a lot of risk involved, and this is deadcoins.com on the screen. Thanks guys for chucking this up. And with deadcoins.com, it's basically an overview of all the coins that have either failed or been scammed. And as you can see, there's a lot that have been scams, and BitConnect is a huge one where people lost millions and millions. And I speak to people quite often who have lost sometimes six figures through investing into a multi-level marketing scheme of getting people under you, and they ran some great big demonstrations and everyone thought it was great, and then one day it just went pop and people lost, I think it was 850,000 Bitcoins and something like 500,000 Ethereum disappeared overnight. So do be aware that there's risk to this, but you can eliminate all of this unnecessary risk when you really understand what you're doing. And that's why it's essential about having your education. So as you can see, there's life-changing returns to be made, and these numbers are insane. Cryptocurrency is not like any other market in the world. It is outperforming consistently every single market in the world year on year. So we want to look at that data and information. The worst performing year that Bitcoin has ever had year on year is, I think it's 9.86% off the top of my head, but it's around 9% is the worst performing year on year performance it's ever had since 2012. So you need to really understand the numbers and what you're looking at rather than listening to maybe people's opinions of whether it's a good investment or not. And that's just Bitcoin. As you can see, some of the returns of cryptocurrencies have been ridiculous, is the only way to say it. Investing a very small amount into some of these could absolutely change your life if you understand what you're looking for. So here's some projects that we invested into. So this is one chain that we invested into a long time back now, through 2017. It was released in 2018, and it was released in a market that was going downhill very, very quickly. And within a very short period of time, so 7 weeks, it went up 62% from when it was launched, which 62%, if you compare that to other markets which we saw earlier, property, if you're lucky in a very good market, is 7 to 8% return in a year. We're talking about 62% in a number in 7 weeks. So that kind of return is just not what you're seeing in any other market, which is fantastic. But that's not even where the money was made. So where the money was really made was the ICO level. So we actually invested pre-ICO, so got it even lower than this. But at ICO level, you can see it was 34 cents. It was 34 cents. And we were selling at $7.06. So that's 21 times the initial investment. So if you put $1,000 in, that's 21,000. If you put 10,000 in, that's 210,000 from one investment. And I'm not saying that it's going to happen all the time, but what I am saying is when you understand what you're looking for, these returns are still happening every single day in the market. Here's another example, Algorand, which we invested into very early stage. We actually got it at 5 cents, pre-ICO level, which is something that our mastermind clients get access to. But 10 cents is what it listed in the market ICO level. And then when it actually listed on the exchanges, it listed at $2.40. So the same example, 10,000 as an investment would have led to $240,000 from one single investment, which is an exceptional amount of money. And it's not that your entire portfolio is going to be involved in investing in higher risk assets. Definitely not. And we talk about how to break that down in depth with our clients and where to allocate your funds to. But I'm just showing you what's possible. So here's another great example. This happened very, very recently. So I was able to provide a 117% discount effectively to our mastermind clients. So they made 117% just for buying an asset which was already active in the market. So 117%, it might not sound a lot of money, but that's a considerable amount of money if you're investing fairly big numbers. But even if you're investing small numbers, show me a market right now that's doing 117% in a single trade, which is really quite impressive. So, and that's why so many people are getting into the market. It's not just retail investors like we saw earlier, it's institutional investors, serious people that are backing this market and putting substantial money in and buying up all the supply. So we have to really remind ourselves that there's limited supply with these cryptocurrencies. It's not like your Australian dollar, your US dollar, whatever, where they just keep printing more and putting more into circulation and basically devaluing it. This is a limited supply and the demand is being snapped up, and that's what's driving up the value of the assets. And the supply is set to really diminish. 99% of Bitcoin would have been mined and put into circulation by 2030, which is an incredible amount. And by 2140, so in the next 110 years following, 1% would have been mined. And that tells you the valuation expectation of Bitcoin at that point in time. So something maybe to really keep your mind around and focused on as you're expecting your outcomes and investing into the market. So take a second here to maybe, if you want to share on the side or maybe make a note for yourselves, I want you to think about what your outcome, your financial outcome is that you would love to achieve in the next 12 months. So why this is really important is you want to have something that you're focused towards and something that excites you and a number that you know that it can change your life. And you can see within cryptocurrencies, if you understand what you're doing, you can unlock that potential much quicker than what you expect. And that's what we see with all our client success stories, is they're achieving results that they just didn't expect in those kind of time frames. So, and it's certainly my personal experience as well. I remember the goal of when I figured out the 5-pillar investment system, the goal that I set and how quickly I was able to smash through that in much quicker than 12 months. And I keep smashing through my goals because I've got an awesome system behind me, the same system that we share with our clients that gets results and success. So who thinks, out of interest, and feel free to comment on the side, with the right support and guidance, you can actually start to unlock the potential and safely create wealth in cryptocurrencies, the highest performing asset class that we've ever seen in history. So, and it's awesome to see that a number of you can, and that's the importance. When you've got a coach, someone who's already done it and helps so many people achieve success too, when you've got that support network around you and a community of people who are doing incredible things too, that's what's going to help you to raise your game and accelerate your results, but actually allow you to start to realize the potential of what you have. You just don't know how to unlock it maybe right now. So at the start, I said there's nothing to buy, and absolutely I'm very clear on that. But I want to share a bit more in depth as to what we do over here, and feel free to check in. There's the messenger on the side at any point in time if you want to have a chat with our team to understand in more depth. But I want to share this with you so you've got clarity on what CCI is about and how we've been helping our clients for the last 4.5 years get incredible results. And that's a massive thing for me, and that's what I get so happy about. I got all these messages today from so many clients saying how things have happened for them, and they start to create this wealth, and people quitting their jobs and being able to focus on this full time and just spending more time with the people that they love. It's just incredible to see, and it's what really makes me tick and what fulfills me now that I've got to a level of where I fortunately don't have to work anymore, and neither does my little boy James, and probably his children too. So what I want to be clear on is we work with just two types of people here at Crypto Consulting Institute. It's either investors who are looking at getting started in the market and they really want to understand a way of shortcutting their way to safely creating the wealth that they want in the world of cryptocurrencies. And the second profile is investors who have already made a start in the market and they're really looking for a way to refine that approach, to take things to that next level and stop kind of going like this with a roller coaster income and accelerate it up and become a sophisticated investor. What I will say is at Crypto Consulting Institute, we're really selective with who we work with, and that's why we don't just let people jump on a call with us and go through. There is an application process to that and knowing where you're at and making sure that we align with you. And that's because we care about one thing here, like I mentioned earlier at CCI, and that's client results. So we need to know that someone's ready to do the work and they're willing to invest in themselves and get educated in the best way possible, because they're the people that are ready for results. We can't help everyone, and not everyone's ready for results, and that's okay. There's no judgment on that, but we only want to align with people that are really ready to take it to that next level. And that's how we've managed to maintain our 5-star reputation for 4.5 years now, is because we align to the right people that are ready for results. So what we do, we take clients on for about 2 months and we take them through our proven 5-pillar investment system in a lot of depth, which is called the cryptocurrency VIP immersion process. So it's broken up very simply and it's all step by step, and we're here to support you all of the way. So the focus is really about getting you to a place of mastery with the fundamentals and then building on that to get a consistent return on investment. What I will say is you'll feel fully confident with understanding how to safely create wealth in cryptocurrencies within about 30 to 40 days if you follow the system and the process. It's usually faster though if someone's already got the experience and they're just looking for refinement to take things to that next level. Also, what's really important to us at Crypto Consulting Institute is we've got a simple and powerful policy here. So what that looks like is we will work with you until you feel that level of confidence with understanding how to minimize risk and maximize your returns in cryptocurrency. I know it's pretty cool. Thank you for checking in. So what this really means is the program's designed to be 2 months long. But let's say for some reason you're not where you want to be within 2 short months, then we will extend that by another month to ensure that you get the result and outcome that you want. As I'm sure you would have seen through all the client success stories and the 5-star feedback that we get, we care deeply about getting real results with our clients over here. So we don't just kick people out the course if maybe they're having a bit of a tough time or working potentially a little bit slow because things have happened. But what I found, I guess, from being in this market and helping clients for 4.5 years now, is typically 30 to 40 days that people do have the level of confidence that they're looking for. So what I'll walk through very high level is what it looks like, the 5 pillars that is. So pillar 1, as I mentioned earlier, is the investment psychology method. So the first thing that we really show you is how to master your greatest asset, which is you. So not only you can identify the opportunities, but you've actually got the power to take action upon them. And that's what will really unlock the long-term success that you're looking for. What I found from being in markets for so many years now, where my success actually comes from is typically doing the opposite to what everyone else is doing. And in order to do that, it really takes a bulletproof mindset. Pillar 2 is super essential, and that's the investment safety protocol. So we go into depth on how to safely manage your assets and avoid all the unnecessary risks that people are still taking in the market today, so you don't become part of that statistic, like I mentioned earlier, of people who have lost or mismanaged access to their cryptocurrencies. So the purpose of this is so you've got that solid base and foundation to really accelerate and build your wealth from. If you don't have that base and that foundation, then as you start to build, it will crumble. And I've seen it happen to so many people, unfortunately. I get calls about it from solicitors where people have passed away and their partner's trying to gain access to their cryptocurrency and they can't because they haven't structured the back end right. And that's what we set all of our clients up with. So pillar 3 is the transacting process. So in this pillar, we teach you the safest ways to transfer your wealth in and out of the market so you can be in full control and have ultimate liquidity as to what you're doing. We also introduce you to our partners so you get special rates and discounts and other things as well. We also use different things like switching platforms, which you can send directly from your hardware wallet straight back to your hardware wallet through a switching platform, and it will give you the best rate in the market, but also you maintain ownership and control, and you're never left exposed on an exchange as well, which is really interesting for a lot of people, because I know privacy and control and safety is really big, and I can see that it is for a lot of people there, so that's why we're really, really big on that too. So pillar 4 is the 4 core investment strategies. So this is where I share with you the 4 proven investment strategies that go all the way from a more hands-off approach through to more advanced. So depending on where you're at on your journey, there's absolutely a strategy for that, and we cover it in depth. What I will say is not to be confused with spread betting and accumulating all these different cryptocurrencies. It's really about doubling down and knowing what you're investing into, but also knowing when to buy and when to sell, when to enter and when to exit, when to take profit, when to minimize your risks. So all of these strategies are simplified, they're all non-complex, and is broken down step by step on screen. And like I said, we're here to virtually hold your hand and support you throughout the entire process. And I can see some of you making comment on that. We know how important the support is at this level for you to get the success and outcome that you want. So pillar 5 is the opportunity and assessment blueprint. So in this pillar, it's all about having a system in place to identify and assess sound investment opportunities and remove the hype, which we both know that there's certainly a lot of that in this market. So I share with you the exact blueprint that myself and my clients have used to great success over the years, and literally the step-by-step of how that works. And this is so you can reduce your risk, not invest into scams, but actually start to invest into projects that will create the life-changing returns that you're after. As a bonus for anyone that comes on board and works with us, our head analyst, Sam, who's an absolute wizard, and that's why I brought him on to CCI, he's created an entire module which teaches you when to enter and exit the market using data and informed decisions rather than hope investing, unfortunately, like most people are. Also, as a bonus for anyone that comes on board and works with us, we've, as you can imagine over the years, helped a lot of people create serious wealth in the space. And we had a lot of people reaching out saying, how do I manage my tax? How do I look after this? What do I do? So we've partnered with a leading cryptocurrency taxation advisory firm. And they've created a step-by-step process of how you can manage your tax when a taxable event occurs, just so you don't get any unwanted tax bills come the end of financial year. And also, as a bonus for anyone that comes on board and works with us, I will personally purchase and provide a hardware wallet for you. We show you how to set up the front end, but more importantly, we share with you in depth how to set up the back end. And I can see how important that is for a lot of you again, so thanks for sharing that. This is so you can be in that full control and know how to fully safely manage your assets. So just as an overview, pillar 1 is the investment psychology method. Pillar 2 is the investment safety protocol. Pillar 3 is the transacting process. Pillar 4 is the 4 core investment strategies. Pillar 5 is the the opportunity and assessment blueprint. And the bonuses are entry and exit. So knowing how to enter and exit the market with Sam, our head analyst. The bonus taxation module that comes with our investment and taxation advisory firm, which is awesome. And so many of our clients have used that service. And also a hardware wallet, which is the safest way for you to store and manage your assets. So what I want to say here is you do not need to be an expert investor. You don't need to be a technology guru. You don't need to know or have years of experience in markets, or you don't need to be doing this full time to get the results and outcomes you want. I've stripped away every piece of fluff and knowledge that's just going to hold you back and not get the result that you want, and all the confusing parts out. And that allows you to really focus on what it is that you need to know rather than filling your head full of knowledge, which kind of YouTube does. So this system really allows you to take full control of your assets, be hands-off and automate as much as you can, and knowing exactly when to enter and exit the market, but also identifying the right opportunities to invest into. And that is what is the really important part here, because you can have the right opportunity at the wrong time, or the wrong opportunity at the right time, and it's not going to get you the outcome of what you want. So this system not only will help you to create the life-changing wealth that you're after, but it will save you a lot of time. And that is the core thing here. Saving time is something that's going to allow you to accelerate forward on your growth journey. And this is really so you can continue to create wealth like clockwork. Who this is not for is if you're not serious about investing into yourself and into your future, if you don't have just 15 minutes a day to set aside to up level and invest into your education and your knowledge and your insights to grow, and you're not committed to that, or if you aren't open to getting uncomfortable and stepping outside to grow and develop to help you achieve the goals and outcomes of what you want from your financial outcomes. And I saw all the things that you guys were sharing, and that's really awesome that you want to spend more time with your family, and why you're doing this to give the opportunity to them. That's really important, and that's so awesome to hear. So this is an application process only, and the way that it works is you can check in with the team via Messenger and have a chat with those guys and really understand if we're right for you and vice versa. So we just ask some real quick high-level questions, and if we do align, we'll review your application, and then we can jump on a call and see how we can take things to the next level, and if there is that alignment again. But we really want to go through that process just to make sure that we are right for you and you are right for us as well, and we know that you're going to do the work to get the result and outcome that you want, because we don't want to work with everyone over here. And just on that note, like I mentioned earlier, we have limited spots in the sense that we will never work with a lot of people, and we don't want to, because we want to manage that high level of support and guidance that we provide. And I know that if we've got thousands of people in our group, it's never going to happen. So we open this up to a select few, and then we shut it. So at that point, we can put you on a waiting list or check on in when it does open up again, but there's a limited amount of people that we take on at any one point in time. So what I want you to think about here, and something that I always reflect on, is in order for you to get the outcomes that you want, you need to be a great investor in yourself and really focus on how you can get the shortcut to where you want to go, so you don't waste time and money doing all the mistakes that I did in the beginning, so you can really advance where you want to go to unlock the potential that you have. So who should really apply for this? If you want to have more time to spend with your family and the people that matter most, if you want to have the opportunity to do all the cool things that you can in life, but you might not be able to right now because you only have a certain amount of holidays or a certain amount of capital to do really exciting things. If you want to go away and have these trips and do these fun things, that's where you need to start focusing on how you're going to get there, and that's really about investing into yourself and into your education so you can unlock the next level. So I'll share with you some more client success stories that we've had, because there's so many that we've worked with over the years who have gone on to get incredible results, and you can watch, they're all over the internet, so you can go and check them out for yourself, whether it's interviews with me in person or whether it's Trustpilot reviews. Go and have a look yourself. So we work with people that have made 5-figure profits. We work with people who have gone on to make 6-figure profits, and we've also worked with people who have actually gone on to make 7-figure profits, which is just incredible, and in such a short amount of time, because they had that confidence that they could get to where they want to go. And that to me is such an awesome thing. I even helped my dad go on to make, it wasn't a huge amount of money, that's US, but still an amount of money which he just had sitting there doing nothing. So I became his favourite son really, really quickly, which is awesome. So something I'm super grateful for. And as you can see, we work with people from all different backgrounds, from university students all the way through to people who are retired, people that have never invested before, like I mentioned. It's such a varying range of people, and you don't need that expertise or background to be successful. You just need a proven system to follow and to have the commitment to get the result and outcome that you want. So if you really want to avoid mismanaging your digital assets, you want to avoid being a hype investor like 80 to 85% of the market are, you want to avoid really wasting your time and getting scammed and doing all the wrong things that I did, and you also want to avoid missing out on the life-changing opportunities that are here right now, then absolutely check on in with the team and start to move forward. So really imagine, and we're nearly finished up now, but imagine that you're investing right now and maybe you're not getting the returns that you want, or maybe you're about to start out. You could really invest into something that is going to give you that highest level of success opportunity. Why wouldn't you? Why would you continue to expose yourself in a market that you don't maybe fully understand? So what we do differently here, what is, I guess, the new way, is a method that I use and create wealth in a systematic way that will help you to up level yourself so you can look after yourself. It's kind of teaching someone how to fish so they can fish forever. So if you have maybe worked with different coaches in the past and you haven't got the results, or maybe you've worked with different systems and it hasn't worked for you, it's either you didn't do the work, or you were using a broken system, or maybe you didn't get that level of support that you really needed at that point in time. So if you do go ahead and choose to message us and have a chat and you work with us like hundreds of people have, you'll not only get the in-depth support and guidance that will help you to accelerate your journey, but you'll be given a pathway to actually getting results. And that's the core thing. That's why we're still doing this 4.5 years later, because that's what we're good at. So it's what we're doing right now and what's actually working to help you get the results that you want, and that's something that you can apply for yourself. So you not only get access to me, but you get access to our team, like our head analyst Sam and other people, which is really essential for this. So like I mentioned before, we've got a powerful policy in place that will help you to ensure that you get the result and outcome that you want. So if you've got 5 or 10K that you're considering maybe investing and chucking into the market right now, does it make sense to risk your capital trying to figure this out on your own and continuing maybe doing what you're doing, or jumping into the market with the lack of knowledge and expertise that you might have? Or does it make sense to go and work with someone who's already achieved success and helped hundreds of other people achieve success too. And we'll hold your hand all the way and give you the support and guidance that you need. And you can see from our feedback and reviews, the support is something that we take real seriously. So I'd say it's probably a safe place to put your investment into yourself and something that you can control. So when I cracked the system, I knew that I never had to worry about money ever again. And that's the really exciting thing. So I still heavily invest into the market, absolutely. And that's what helps me stay focused and up to tune so I can give the best insight and guidance. And now I get to focus on other things like helping people like yourselves take things to that next level. And that's where I get so much fulfillment from. So the roller coaster results and the roller coaster income and performance is really a surefire way to get stressed and feel overwhelmed and probably quit after losing some money, like I hear all the time. All you need is a simple, proven process. So that also partners with a support as well, and that's the core thing that's going to help you to get your outcome of what you want. So if you're really interested in getting an efficient and effective outcome and the results that you're after, and if you haven't already booked in a strategy call with me, because you've tuned in to the end of this session, here's a link and an opportunity to jump on and book in a free application strategy call with myself. So all you have to do is jump on the link, book in a time with myself, and then there's a few questions that you need to fill out on a form just to see if we can help you and what that looks like, and see if we can help you on your journey to success, like so many of our clients have been through that experience themselves. So if not, it's okay. What I will say is that we can't align to everyone, and we are very limited in who we want to work with, just so we do continue to get the results that we do, and we know who's going to be successful and who's not. And it's not a scarcity thing. I'm not trying to drive you to think, oh, I'm going to miss out on the opportunity. It's just a fact that this is how we've chosen to operate our business and the model, and it's what we know gets results. So if you're interested and you want to move forward and take things to that next level and not just sit on the sidelines, then jump on in and hit the button now to book in your application call with myself, and we'll see if there's an alignment to help you on the journey together. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I know that it's been a fairly long session, and I really appreciate all the comments on the side, and thank you so much. I've certainly taken a bit of my time, but I enjoy what I do, and I love helping others, so I really appreciate all the feedback and everything. And thanks, I can see there's a number of you booking in calls with me right now, which is awesome, and I can see that people have been messaging throughout the session, so I'm really excited to chat with some of you very, very soon. Thank you guys again for listening in, and I wish you so much success on your journey of cryptocurrency. And if we align together, then fantastic. If we don't, then I wish you well with everything that you do. But always realize that the quickest path to success is just to replicate something that someone's already done, be in a community of other people that are getting results, and have that support and guidance from not only myself, but a team as well. So thank you again. I look forward to chatting with some of you soon. Have an awesome day, evening, and all the best. Thank you. Chat soon.